I work at KCB Group as the Group Corporate and Regulatory Affairs, and for now I've worked in that organization for about 10 years. I joined the bank initially as a Corporate Communications Manager before I got promoted to a Group Head Corporate and Regulatory Affairs. I joined the Women on Board Network in the year 2014, in which I saw one of the email communication that they were holding one of the board talks, which I think it was not their board talks, but it was one of their sessions when they were going to launch it. And I think it was launched by one of our cabinet secretaries, which I attended. And once I listened to their purpose of why they are doing the Women on Board networks, immediately it resonated with me because at that time I was already acting on the current role that I'm doing, and therefore I realized it resonated with me, and therefore I needed to get much more information so that to enable me to grow in my career path. So I have been attending various board talks, which has had various speakers, which has continued to build me, has continued to build confidence, because one of the things we know as women is having confidence, and to build confidence in different issues. And also I've been able to network, because through the various speakers that we've had, I've been able to network where I've found their issues in which I found these guys had strength. I would talk to them so that we could be able to share experiences and be able to get guidance on how best to approach certain challenges, certain things, or have conversations that would enable me also just to grow in whatever I'm doing. The Women on Boards Network sessions have been very helpful in terms of, for me personally, is just understanding what governance is all about. Because it's a new thing, and because I was serving at a senior level, there are all these governance issues that I needed to understand. And therefore, having gone through the 10-week program on that, it enabled me to understand in an organization, if you are appointed to a board, what is your expectation? If you're appointed in senior management role, what is your expectations? What are the do's, what are the don'ts? What are you required to do as an organization? And of course, a clear demarcation between management and board. So that became very clear, and it enabled me to understand also, even as on the part of management, what I should do, and when I sit on the board, what type of role I'm expected to be and how to differentiate it. So that was very, very useful. I was also able to work with a mentor for about 10 weeks, which was also very useful. He was able to give me an opportunity to even attend one of the board meetings, just to get an understanding of how do you conduct a board meeting, what are some of the challenges you can go through, what are some of the questions, how are you expected to conduct yourself. And it was very helpful how minutes are prepared and everything. So yes, it actually opened the world for me on how exactly you operate in that environment, in boards, and also in terms of governance and ethics, and how to conduct yourself even as a woman, because there's the general information that we have about boards, but again there's the aspect of women which normally gets left out, and therefore this enabled me to connect with that. So certain languages, certain nuances, observing how people behave, observing who is the decision maker, observing what are the politics that happen around. So that became a very critical for me, and therefore even some issues, even they were discussed, they would not affect me any longer, because I would understand why they are happening and what I can do to be able to lobby for my issue to get approved. What I would tell women who have not joined Women on Boards is they must take the initiative to do it, especially if they are looking at serving in senior leadership positions, whether you will be in the public sector or in the private sector, or even in the school, in the churches, because we really need to have proper ways of governance in our country in general. We have seen it is a great weakness, but again, the information is out there. And as women, because we know that we have space to be able to create that leadership position in terms of governance, it's good that we also get that knowledge, because once you get that knowledge and you're empowered, then you go out there being very confident that you can be able to implement something that our own children will be proud of many years to come from today. What I would say is that why we sponsor this program is because it is one way we are also looking at how we can be able to encourage our ladies in the bank to get exposure to some of these issues. Because one thing we say, it can only be me, But again, we are saying, how do you open up to all the other members of staff also who are interested in having some of these sessions? And this is part of our diversity agenda in the bank, which is part of our sustainability strategy, which we are looking at in the next 5 years to improve our gender matters, especially for women in top leadership, from a percentage of 27 to 30%. Because we realize at entry level, we are all at a good level of 50-50. But as women go up the ladder, then they fall off. And so we were able to identify 5 key focus areas where we have seen those gaps in terms of them attending interviews. We're not seeing a lot of them attending interviews. We have also seen that when it comes to getting promotions, also there's a weakness. So we identified 5 key strategic pillars that we are working on and measuring and tracking it so that we can be able to ensure that we prepare them. And so some of these initiatives also are part of that, to create confidence in them, to give them courage, to know what are the, as I said, the nuances and the politics of corporate and also boardroom, and for them to see how best can they align and plan themselves so that they can be able to have courage to take up those positions. And I think one of the key things also for them is that you don't have to have everything for you to apply for the job. Because we always say you see competencies, 10 parameters, you want to have 10 out of 10. But even if you have 5 out of 10, apply. Because even if you don't get the job, you have an opportunity, you have learned something out of that interview. What do interviewers look for? What type of questions do they get? It also enables you to enlighten yourself so that next time when you go for another interview, now you prepare better than the way you did for the first time. So accepting that leadership is a journey. It is not something that has an answer for today or tomorrow, but it is a journey, and you keep on improving yourself day by day so that you can be better at what you do.